9 teams for Flins. As you know by now, Anefa is in his best teams, but I'll be dropping a video in a few hours that shows off some Flins teams without Anefa, so subscribe if you want to see that one. This is going to be his strongest team day one. We get Ino for free, and she's on the banner for Constellations. Sucrose is on the banner too, nice and easy. I'll show off some alternatives for Anefa in a minute too. For builds, Flins has the new DPS set, Night of the Skies Unveiling. Ino has the other new one, Serenade. Sucrose is on VV, Anefa on Tenacity. I have seen people put Serenade on Anefa though, so she can use the energy from the 2Ps and then Ino holds Noblesse. I say just go with whichever's easiest for you. Only downside of this team is that with there being 2 Nodcry characters, you might struggle for Primo gems. That's where loot bar come in. They sell in-game currency for all kinds of gachas including Genshin Impact and Star Rail, and it's up to 25% cheaper than in-game. My favourite thing is they're running a special promotion for 6.0 at the moment with lower prices on various bundles. They even have specific vouchers for 6.0 so you can save even more. I find the in-game prices are too expensive to justify buying, but the loot bar prices are worth it. They've worked with other creators you might have heard of like Jello Impact and Riding Shotgun and have over 25,000 positive Trustpilot reviews. They're completely safe and I use them myself. You only need the UID and server and your crystals will go through immediately. Check the link in the description to grab some discounts. Flins' best team for day one is Ino, Sucrose and Anefa, but if you don't have Anefa, either of the Ansan or Cookie will likely be your best alternative to Stains in this team. We all got a free copy of Ino, and the good news is that while she isn't a great unit, she does synergize with Flins. Even at C0, she applies off-field Hydro and has a short cooldown on a burst. With the timing on Flins' skill cooldown, you want to run a team with a shorter rotation time. Even though Ino isn't as good as someone like Xingqiu, his burst cooldown is 20 seconds while Ino's is 13.5. Basically, the team won't deal as much damage during the parts where you're attacking with Flins, having Ino instead of Xingqiu, but you can switch back to Flins quicker so it ends up better. Sucrose is one of the biggest beneficiaries of 6.0 because you can play her with all the new units. Once Kazuha came out in 1.6, she was relegated to a lesser used role and sometimes even just the bench. Kazuha's elemental damage buff is usually better than Sucrose's elemental mastery buff, but with Lunar Charge not needing elemental damage and instead wanting elemental mastery, Sucrose is better in Flins teams. To be honest, it felt like a weak team without Anefa. You could swap Yansan or Cookie out for more electro damage from Fischl for example, but then there's no sustain unit. Getting Anefa back in there, you can use Farina instead of Ino. Good news is you don't need to use Farina's burst because Flins doesn't need the damage buff with so much of his damage being lunar charged. This means you can build less energy recharge on Farina and some more damage orientated stats like crit and HP. With the rotation being so short and Farina's skill duration being so long, you only need to use a skill once every other rotation. Ino's comfier without the bleed though, and you'll probably want to save your Farina for other teams. Because of this, I still recommend Ino until we see what Columbina does. You could even go with a Hydro sustain like Kokomi Barbara or Siegeween. I've gone with Barbara purely because we all get her for free. Having only one Electro unit in the team was an issue for energy, but I kept Ino in the team for the Moonsign level so Flins can get the extra crit rates from the artifact set. I did try taking Ino out for Fischl, but Barbara's Hydro application was bad with her skill cooldown being so long. You can work around it a little with sacrificial fragments, but even then it was awkward. I guess Xingqiu's an option, but the rotation will be longer and less comfy. I don't think I've talked about it yet, so I'll mention it now. You don't need to use Sucrose's burst, you just use her skill once for the shorter rotation and give her Thrilling Tales to give Flins some attack. Your rotation will be so short that you won't get the Thrilling Tales buff on the second rotation, but it's still the best weapon option for her. Candice is one of my favourite designs in the game, and since her release she's consistently getting buffed with several new units. Xian Yun gave her a plunge team, Arlecchino gave her a good team to make use of his C6. If you don't have a C6, she's good for Mualani too. If you have a C6, she's also an option in Flins teams with her only having a 15-second cooldown on a burst. The C6 is the one that gives extra Hydro application and she can hold the Nodcry support set too. She isn't doing a whole lot, but if your Ino's only C0, she's not doing anything outside of Hydro application in this team anyway. Candice will at least give Flynn some elemental damage bonus on his normals. Obviously his normals aren't a big percentage of his damage, but given the fact he's not getting much damage bonus here, it is useful-ish. Favonia's Lance for energy, she's not amazing, but it is another use case for her. Now I imagine you're probably sick of seeing Sucrose in all these teams, so let's look at some without her. To be honest, this one felt a lot better than the other Anephilus teams, but it does use more in-demand units. On paper you'd think it doesn't give Flins too much, with damage bonus not doing anything for his Lunar Charge damage, but he still deals damage outside of it, and Farina's always a nice sub-DPS option anyway. I think the weak link in this side is Ino. We don't really need a Hydro app because Farina's given us enough, so all that Ino's given us is the Moon Sign level. This could be another potential team for Columbina. I'm looking forward to seeing what she does. For those that didn't get an Nether, it is nice to have a genuinely good sustain option in Shalonen. While the damage bonus doesn't do much as we mentioned, the resistance shred benefits the Lunar Charge damage, so she has a lot of value here. Also, I know you're more concerned with meta viability, but it is nice to have a Natlan unit in the team for exploration too. Sticking with unorthodox teams, I figured I'd test both Flins and Lauma together, seeing as though Lauma is strong in Hyperbloom teams. She's holding Deepwood, and Neph's on Tenacity, and you can give Serenade to either of Ino, Yelan or Farina. I went with Yelan to show some variety. I actually found this team to be pretty strong. I did prefer the others, and I definitely think there are other units who are stronger for Lauma Hyperbloom teams like Nouvellette, but I appreciate the flexibility for Flins teams. I do think Columbina will improve the team though, so it's another reason to look forward to her. Flins is a Lunar Charge character, so you do want to play him in teams with Hydro and Electro so you can trigger all instances of damage from his burst. To demonstrate what he looks like outside of Lunar Charge teams though, I went with Overloaded. It's actually not too bad for damage, but Flins is contributing very little. If you were to take him out and replace him with Veressa or Clorand, the team will be a lot better. There were moments you'll see where he's hitting over 100k to multiple enemies with his burst, but that's a single Veressa plunge and his normal attacks aren't dealing much. If you don't have any other options in this video at all, maybe you could play it, but I do not recommend pulling him to play in this team. He's not one of those flexible characters that you can cook experimental teams with, unfortunately. For this last team, I saw a tweet where someone made a lantern meme team purely because we have lanterns. Unfortunately, it's not good as it does have a lot of anti-synergy. Lisa makes the rotation longer and you're not triggering burning, so Emily's skill isn't dealing as much damage as it usually does. There's also no sustain unit. You could maybe give Lisa Prototype Amber, but that's going to make the damage even less. It might still be a fun meme team if Columbina can heal or something, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. For a score out of 10, I'd give Flins a 7. He's pretty much glued to Anephra and Sucrose with no all-round synergy in the Hydro slot. There are alternatives to each of the units, but they feel extremely underwhelming. I do think we'll get better teammates in future patches though, so 7 out of 10 definitely isn't his ceiling. Just a reminder, I'll be dropping a Flins video for teams without Anephra in a few hours. Subscribe if you're interested in that one, and take it easy.